I'm gonna start this video by saying, fuck you, Sobbi, for ruining outcome memories. This video isn't gonna have any music, nor any background footage, just my voice, screenshots, and a look at how much of a scumbag Sobbi is. If you already haven't been caught up to date, Romeo was fired from outcome memories without any apparent reason or communication. He was ghosted for 2 days by the team, where he was then added to a group chat with Sobbi, Alpi, who is the owner of 2017X and Awakening Sonic, and PR. And in that group chat, they just booed the fuck out of him. I urge you to read the official statement that is on Sobbi's Twitter, but I'll sum it up to you in this video, and include the most important pieces of the conversation between Romeo, Sobbi, Alpi, and PR. After everyone greeted each other, Sobbi started the conversation by throwing out a bunch of horrible accusations at Romeo. First off, Sobbi was upset at Romeo for tweeting out about his firing and how he was upset when he was fired for no reason, rightfully so. And Sobbi went nuclear off the bat. He claimed that Romeo was twisting things up to villainize the OM team when really, all he was doing was expressing how upset he was after he was randomly fired. Sobbi then says what Romeo was doing is scummy, as if Lua, the guy that Sobbi hired to be a new owner for OM, didn't just fire Romeo without a known reason or cause. Sobbi then has the gall to compare Romeo to Altez, as if Sobbi didn't encourage the video Altez made before switching up on him, which then led to the Raven drama exploding as it did. Sobbi claims Romeo was hurting people and putting others in danger, because he was using his only outlet, which was his Twitter account, to talk about his unjustified firing. I encourage you to pause and read screenshots as they are presented. Romeo responds to Sobbi's claims, and everything he has to say is pretty reasonable and lines up with what he posted. He was upset that he was never given a chance to speak up for himself before it was announced that he was fired, because mind you, Romeo was asleep when the announcement was made, and said announcement was also made the moment he was fired. Romeo brings up a massive issue that OM team has, and still has, that being communication. Going back to what Sobbi said about Romeo being comparable to Altez, Romeo literally had nothing to do with the Altez video. But Sobbi privately endorsed the video and encouraged it to be made before switching up on Altez the moment there was some backlash, which is just insanely hypocritical. In response to what Romeo said, Sobbi and Alpi dogpiled him. Sobbi and Alpi claimed that Romeo made public threats to others, and that's just a lie. I've looked through all of Romeo's tweets, including the ones Alpi attached in their message, and there's not a single threatening thing in any of Romeo's tweets. Romeo's not pretending that he is a victim. He is not trying to force sympathy for himself. He is distraught after being betrayed by people he trusted and was loyal to, and Sobbi is trying to switch everything around and avoid accountability like he did with Altez, all because Romeo was going to make a video defending himself if it came to it. In response to Sobbi's accusations, Romeo explained himself. He was going to make a video concerning his firing if he was never given any communication, or if things blew out of the water. And he explained it was going to have context and not be weaponized, only used as something to defend himself with. That is a massive difference compared to the video that Altez made where he attacked Raven. Romeo also responded to Alpi, explaining that he had no idea that his tweets were being used to hurt people, and even then, how is it Romeo's fault that bad people are attacking others against Romeo's wishes and twisting his words? Romeo has since halted production of said video, but I wouldn't be surprised if it still gets made, especially after everything that's happened. So what Sobbi does in response to what Romeo said is twist his words again. I honestly don't even need to explain this one, just pause and read it. Alpi then jumps in, accusing Romeo of having the cruelest of intentions with all of his posts concerning his firing. They expected perfection from a teenager who is stressed, uninformed, and panicking after being betrayed by his friends. I wouldn't be surprised if they left him out of the loop just to get a reaction to Romeo so they could turn it against him and emotionally manipulate him. And that's not unfounded given that Sobbi has a history of emotional manipulation. Just read these next few screenshots. They mostly just loop back to what I said earlier about everything Romeo is doing being taken out of context or twisted. Sobbi starts pity baiting here, and for some reason he mentions the police. I don't know what this is about, and it was never elaborated on, but I think it's unfair Sobbi is allowed to pull the mental health card, but when Romeo mentions anything about his feelings, he's shut down. Sobbi and Alpi then successfully manipulate Romeo to apologize for things that weren't even on him, as well as demean him for good measure. The conversation wraps up here, and Sobbi and Romeo publish their statements. Romeo has since realized what Sobbi and Alpi did, and has spoken out about it on Twitter. The funny part about all of this is, Lua Guy wasn't even the one who made the final call to fire Romeo. Sobbi, you're telling me that someone else decided for the owner to fire the community manager. The funnier part thing is, nobody else on the staff knows who did it. And we don't even know who told Lua Guy to fire Romeo. And the fact that Sobbi has the nerve to call this game cursed, when it's him and some of the other people on his team that cause all this drama. It's pathetic. Lua was also apparently manipulated into firing Romeo, and I can't help but call bullshit on that. 1. How do you even manage to get manipulated to fire the most popular and active head staff member? And 2. How do you manage to get manipulated not even a week after being hired on as an owner? This is either a lie, or somehow Lua Guy is more incompetent than how Romeo is being portrayed by Sobbi and Alpi. Speaking of Alpi, they had no reason to be part of this group chat or conversation. They're an owner of an EXC that is in the game. Why are they involved in a conversation between a head staff and an owner? Sobbi only brought Alpi to help him bully Romeo. And that is just objectively true. I'm going to wrap this up here, but I just want to close with this. I am not claiming Romeo is perfect. Yes, he could have handled things better, but I do not think the things he did were unreasonable. He's not a villain like he's being portrayed as by Sobbi. But I also need to say this. I do not trust Sobbi, nor do I have any respect for him. From what I've seen, he's an awful, manipulative scumbag who has no right to be in the position of power he is. Sobbi does nothing for the game. He can't even manage his own staff. Do not look up to this person, and do not support Sobbi. I do not plan on making any more OM content, and I do not support this project anymore. It is a shell of the game I once loved, and I am very disappointed in the people behind its failure. As I was halfway through recording this, Sobbi officially canceled Outcome Memories. Sobbi is a coward. He fucked up, and like always, he refused to take accountability, and he canceled the project. He could have given owner to someone else. He could have given owner to someone more competent than him, but no. He has to cancel the game because his ego doesn't allow him to give the project to someone else. Even in the announcement where he apologized for being quote-unquote manipulative, he refused accountability, and he dumbed it down to him being blunt, which is just a lie. I don't know how to end this video except with this. Fuck you, Sobbi.